Joliet, Illinois is a blue-collar city located southwest of Chicago. It's a place where working-class families live, work, their kids walk to school and play in the streets. However, on September 17th, 2017, a triple homicide would rock the community, and that homicide remains unsolved to this day. Let's get spooky. Before we get into today's story, please make sure you are subscribed to this channel, The Spooky Lawyer. Please make sure that you like and share this video. Share this video with your Amazon guy. You see him coming on your little cameras, run out there and be like, hey, watch this video with Kenny. You'll like it. The quiet neighborhood of the Cumberland Subdivision in Joliet, Illinois was rocked by a triple homicide. Inside a home on Great Falls Drive, 3 young adults, Anthony McGee, Emmanuel Manny Hernandez, and Gabriella Rueda, were found shot to death. Nearly 8 years later, the case remains unsolved, leaving the families of the victims and the community searching for answers. In the early morning hours of September 7th, 2017, a small party was taking place at the home of Anthony McGee, located at 2001 Great Falls Drive. The house was situated in a peaceful neighborhood near County Line Drive, but it would become the scene of a brutal crime. While most of the neighborhood slept, a gunman entered the residence and fatally shot McGee, Hernandez, and Rueda.
Breaking news tonight, 3 people killed on a home in Joliet. Good evening, I'm Rob Johnson.
And I'm Erica Sargent. Let's get right to CBS 2's Charlie DeMar, who's outside the home where the victims were found. Charlie.
Rob and Erica, Joliet police have been out in this quiet Joliet subdivision since about 3 this afternoon, and that is where they found 3 dead bodies in this house here behind me. Friends and family of those 3 victims, they have been out here for much of the afternoon and evening and understandably distraught tonight. Police didn't get a call until about 3 this afternoon, and inside that home, officers found 3 adults dead from gunshots.
Strangely, none of the neighbors reported hearing gunshots, despite the use of a firearm in the murders. The unusual silence raises questions about the circumstances of the crime and the possibility of a silencer being used. Some believed the murders may have occurred around 4 a.m., based on the unusual barking of dogs around that time. It wasn't until 3 p.m. that afternoon that the Joliet Police Department was alerted to the gruesome scene inside the McGee home. The victims were Anthony McGee, who was 22 years old, was from Joliet, Illinois; Emmanuel Manny Hernandez, who was also 22 years old, a friend of McGee's, he was from Plainfield, Illinois; and Gabriella Rueda, who was 22 years old, also a friend of McGee's, from West Chicago, Illinois. McGee was a graduate of Plainfield South High School and had a wife and 2 young children. He also had a history of criminal activity, including charges related to firearm possession and marijuana possession. Furthermore, McGee was an ex-convict who had been released from prison a few months prior to the murders. His criminal past makes him likely the target of the attack. The Joliet Police Department immediately launched an investigation into the triple homicide. They determined that the killings were not random and that McGee was likely the target. The investigators suspected that gang retaliation or drug activity may have played a role in the murders. The delayed discovery of the crime scene posed significant challenges for the investigators because it hindered their ability to preserve evidence and gather timely witness testimonies. Despite the limited number of people present at the party, which should have narrowed down the pool of potential suspects, the police were unable to gather sufficient evidence to make any arrests. Police Chief Brian Benton oversaw the initial stages of the investigation. He made efforts to publicize the case and seek information from the public. However, the Joliet Police Department did not offer a cash reward for information leading to the arrest of the perpetrator. This unusual decision has raised questions about the resources and the priority given to this case.
The preliminary information that we have is that there was a party held here at the residence last night. and we're trying to ask for the public's help in identifying anybody who may have information, who may have been here at the residence last night.
This is a big surprise for us, you know. It's like, man, especially because we know them for a long time.
And that neighbor who you just heard from says the homeowner where this incident happened have lived at that home for about 13 years. Neighbors also telling police tonight that they were aware of that party, that they heard that there was a party going on. They are helping police in any way that they can with this investigation. And
the investigation focused on gathering digital evidence, believing that some partygoers may have recorded events on their cell phones. They were particularly interested in any social media activity that might provide clues. However, the investigation was further complicated by the fact that not all partygoers had been interviewed by the police.
Hi, Marissa and Aaron. Investigators are actually still here. I counted at least 5 cop cars. They continue to ask for the public's help in this situation. It's quite the mystery because the murders are believed to have happened sometime Wednesday night, but police weren't called here for a death investigation until yesterday afternoon.
We've talked to several neighbors, but they've all been very helpful with us, and we're trying to backtrack now with the information they've given us. It's going to all be part of the investigation. Again, our goal is to try to identify everybody that was here at the house.
Some were reportedly difficult to locate, while others may have been hesitant to cooperate due to fear of retaliation or involvement in illegal activities. The lack of public response to requests for information, despite the severity of the crime, suggests a lack of trust in law enforcement or a fear of getting involved. The years have passed, and the case has gone cold. Chief Evans, who took over the Joliet Police Department in March of 2022, has offered condolences to the victims' families and acknowledged the ongoing investigation. However, there have been no significant breakthroughs, despite the amount of time that has passed. The Great Falls Drive murders remain a source of frustration and unanswered questions for the community. The lack of progress in the investigation has only fueled these uncertainties. Who was the killer, and what was their motive? Was it a targeted attack related to McGee's past? And were Hernandez and Rueda simply in the wrong place at the wrong time? Certainly a possibility. Why were there no witnesses to the gunshots? Was a silencer used? Were the sounds masked by other factors? Or people just unwilling to come forward? How did the killer arrive at the scene and escape from the scene? Was this planned out? The Great Falls Drive murders join a list of high-profile unsolved cases in Will County, which also include the Lane Bryant store murders in Tinley Park, which I have previously done a video on, and the disappearances of Stacy Peterson and Lisa Stebick. This pattern of unsolved crimes have led to concerns about the effectiveness of law enforcement in the area. It's strongly possible that the fact that McGee was an ex-convict with a criminal history might have influenced the community's perception of the crime and their willingness to cooperate with the investigation. It also raises questions about the potential biases of law enforcement and whether or not they gave this case a proper investigation based on McGee's past. And it's true. It's a problem in our society that crimes committed against, innocent or better victims get better resources and better law enforcement involvement and better input from the community than people like McGee, who had a criminal past. Although the Joliet Police Department maintains that the investigation is still ongoing. However, there also have been no significant leads in the case for 8 years. It's important to remember that even people who are not poster children for being the perfect victims of crimes still have family members, coworkers, and neighbors who cared about them and loved them, still have loved ones seeking closure and wondering what happened to their loved ones. And those people and the victims are entitled to that type of justice, that type of healing. Make sure that you're subscribed to this channel if you like my content. Please like and share this video. Go ahead and follow me on Blue Sky and TikTok. My username is AKBruce. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter. My username is AKBruce there as well. If there is a spooky, disturbing story you would like me to cover, send me an email. My email address is thespookylawyer@gmail.com. And please, stay spooky.